Hello and welcome. My name is Mark. This is Riffle Shuffle and Roll, and today we're going to be taking a look at the French Tarot Deck. If it's your first time visiting the channel, be sure to hit subscribe and the bell so you're notified about new games every week. Now, for the time being on my channel, all I'm going to be focusing on is this Fournier 78 card deck because it is French suited. It is most similar to the standard 52 card deck that we play games with here in America. And I think it is the most inviting way to get people into playing tarot card games, which came before the mystical and divination use of a tarot deck. Now, if you are interested in more of the history behind tarot games and the many different decks that are used around the world to play these games, then you need to check out my friend Aaron's channel. Aaron is an extremely knowledgeable Australian, and when he's not out rescuing dingo babies or fighting off kangaroos, he's making YouTube videos about tarot games. It's a pretty interesting channel. He even gets some very good guests in his videos to talk about how games are played, proper bidding for trick-taking games, so more than just how to play, but also how to win. I encourage you to check out his channel. The link is down in the description. With all that in mind, let's dive in and take a look at the Fournier 78 card French Tarot Deck. Here is the box for the Fournier French Tarot Deck. It is 78 cards, including 4 typical suits as well as 1 trump suit. As you can see, this box is a little taller than a standard deck of cards. So here are some poker-sized cards to compare. Here are bridge size cards. So you can see it is a little wider than the bridge cards, taller than both the bridge and the poker. And just for fun, here are some Hanafuda cards. And here is a look at the first 10 cards of each suit. The French Tarot Deck is French suited, so this should look very familiar to any American card player. We have hearts, spades, diamonds, and clubs. You can see the ace with the A is gone, replaced by just a number 1. And interestingly enough, the ace cards are not very ornate here. There's not a lot of design. They put Fournier on the club, which is interesting because American tradition is to make the ace of spades a very special card, and that's just not done here. Now, just the mere mention of tarot in the States just makes people think of divination and mysticism, and that is just not what these cards were originally used for. Tarot cards were used to play a game called tarot. Only later were they developed into tools for divination. The French suited deck, if you are at all interested in getting into tarot games, the family of games, think trick-taking, rummy, climbing games, hand-shedding games, and tarot games. It's just another family of games. If you're interested, then you might want to look for a French suited deck. I found this on Amazon. It took about a month to get here, and it was pretty close to $20, which is about what you're going to pay for any tarot deck, especially if you want to import one from another country. The French tarot deck is French suited, just like our standard playing cards. There are other decks out there from other countries that have Italian suits or Spanish suits. Whichever country of origin that deck is from, the suits are going to reflect that as well. Here we have the court cards for the club suit. Notice there is 1 extra card here. So there are French names for each card. I'm going to forego those names for now and just teach you the way I remember the ranking. So we have the valet, the cavalier, the dame, and the king. The valet can also be just called a jack. The cavalier can be called a knight. You remember that the knight is on its horse, and it's easy to remember that the cavalier is higher ranked than the valet because, again, the cavalier is up on their horse. And the valet, just like when you go to a restaurant and they valet park your car, where you hand over the keys and they take it, the knight hands his reins over to the valet and says, keep the horse running. Then we have the queen, which is when you remove that 4th court card, the queen is in the same position as always. And then of course the king, which for some reason they spell king with an R. Pretty interesting. And here are all of the Royal Court cards from each of the 4 suits. Each card has unique art. Just like with the standard 52 card deck, there are little subtle differences in how they are positioned or how they dress, and pretty interesting. I don't know the history. I don't know if these people are based on historical figures, and I don't know if, I'm not sure how different that will be when compared to decks from other countries. This deck, since it is a French tarot deck, many of the images are based on French history, so these may be historical figures. And here we have the Trump suit. So this is the 5th suit incorporated in the 78 card deck. It is ranked 1 through 21. As you can see, each card has 2 portraits on it, one at the top and one on the reverse, and they are supposed to be depicting facets of French life during the time period in which this deck was originally printed. I don't know that off the top of my head. I believe it's during the Napoleonic era, but I am not sure. And much like the American Joker, there's also the Fool, also known as the Excuse or the Excuse, however you say that in French. And this card can typically be high or low depending on the game, and sometimes it has some little special abilities. And here's the back of the card. A pretty basic card design and nothing too out of the ordinary when compared to American playing cards. And now that we have the cards out of the box here, let's show you compared to a poker card how it looks and feels. So let me grab this. Here's a 3 of clubs. So we got the back, the classic bicycle card back here. Yeah, so the tarot decks sit a little taller, and it makes them interesting to hold. They're narrower than the poker size, but still a little bigger than the bridge size, which makes them a nice, pleasant card to hold. And that is the Fournier 78 card tarot deck. If you're interested in picking this deck up, I will try to find a link to that deck on Amazon. I haven't had luck finding it again. I got lucky by picking it up when there was only a few copies left. It came from Lithuania and it cost pretty close to 20 American dollars, which is about how much you're going to pay for any tarot deck that you can find available. Now on GameCrafter, there is a deck available called the Sparrow deck, which if you're familiar with Rook, you'll see that the Sparrow deck takes its cue from that. There are no pictures on any of the cards, so there's no imagery. It's all colors and numbers. So if you're looking for a tarot deck that has absolutely no connection visibly to any of the other divination decks, or if you're just a fan of the Rook deck and you're looking for a tarot counterpart, then the Sparrow deck might be for you. And I'll put a link for that down in the description as well. Again, check out Aaron's channel. He has a lot of games available already on there, and he's a pretty cool guy. So I think you can learn a lot from him. That is it for now. Until next time, keep on playing.